Now I'd like to bring up Margo Young. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Margo, Michael's sister and Karen's sister-in-law. I was going to talk about the early days, just go over, I don't have the details that my brother has about the courtship, but I can tell you what our impressions of her were when he brought her home to meet our family and things like that. I met Karen when she and Michael actually started dating in the early 70s. The story, as I remember it, and now it's been verified, was they met in journalism class while attending Ohio State University. When my brother first introduced Karen to our family, we couldn't believe Michael's good luck. She was a beautiful redhead, smart, soft-spoken, warm, and kind. In other words, she had us all at hello. When she asked me to be her bridesmaid sometime later, I was truly honored. My good luck, a sister-in-law and a friend. After they were married in 1975, they were looking for jobs in the field. I think in Cleveland, in Colorado maybe, and finally in the Boston area. After my graduation, I had moved out to Cape Cod and then to Boston, and then they moved out to the East Coast and lived blocks away from my apartment in Cleveland, a neighborhood, Cleveland Circle, a neighborhood in Boston. Karen had many jobs, as you can hear, in the Boston area and beyond, weekly newspapers, journals, and she was a part-time waitress at the Pillar House, which was such a fancy restaurant, none of us could afford to go. Karen was a busy woman who would never say no to anyone who needed a favor and help with a project or a kind word. I must say I never appreciated the extent of her volunteer activities, but I'm sure there are many folks who will remember her kindness and efforts. Meanwhile, Sam and I got married and moved out to the suburbs. Within a few years, Michael and Karen got a call from the Providence Journal in Rhode Island. They were off to new horizons. Providence, Rhode Island wasn't that far from Boston, so we could spend holidays together, sometimes including my parents, brother Jeff and Michael and Karen met our friends in Newton, where we celebrated a few Thanksgivings. They all send their condolences. My son David was born in 1981, and since it looked like a pretty good idea, Allie was born about 2 years later. A bit premature, though. She hadn't gotten the memo about 9 months. But she was great, and Karen was a terrific mom. We enjoyed those years with the baby cousins. Sam and I had another little boy, and we were wondering if Karen and Mike would follow. As it happened, Karen was pregnant, and then they got another big call, this time from the LA Times. Marley was about 3 or 4 months old, and although we were very happy for them, we were also pretty sad. I vaguely remember Karen not being a fan of our cold, icy New England winters, so maybe she secretly looked forward to the California sun. So they pulled up stakes and moved out to Orange County, land of sunshine, Beach Boys, Buffalo Springfield, and Ricky Nelson. It was a new vacation destination for us, because we stayed in the Boston area. We would travel out west and talk them into joining us on trips. One year we did a national parks tour, starting in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The kids were that fun age, probably 6 to 10 years old. With the 4 of them, there was never any whining or fighting. And no one got into too much trouble, except perhaps Andrew, who was gored by after teasing a goat who was tied up to. After visiting a couple of state parks, I think Michael and maybe Sam had enough trees and canyons and decided to push on to that special location sooner rather than later. Yes, Las Vegas, to meet Elvis. Karen and I just rolled our eyes. She was a very patient woman. Me, not so much. Mind you, Elvis had been dead for some time, but there were plenty of lookalikes. And as you might imagine, Circus Circus, the casino hotel, was the perfect place for the kids and some of the adults. Other vacations included meeting halfway in Lebanon, Ohio at my parents' place, or tractor rides, chasing chickens, swimming in the pond, riding donkeys, and visiting their Uncle Jeff and Julie. We always had a lot of laughs. The last time we were in Pasadena, Michael got tickets to the Rose Bowl because he knew Andrew had gone to Michigan, and we saw the Texas-Michigan game, which was right in their backyard, pretty much in Pasadena. Their retirement in Nevada City seemed to suit them well, and we enjoyed visiting them here, meeting all their new friends. One more story. Karen was always cool and calm, I remember, in the midst of a crisis. As Marley was getting married, she and the immediate family went for photos. And as I was getting ready, I got a slightly concerned call from Karen that Karen, was getting into her dress and it ripped slightly. And did I have another dress? And would I bring that dress to the wedding site? I knew if it were me, I would have been frantic. As it happened, she was smiling when we arrived and said, "Thank you," but the photographer had a needle and thread and fixed it on the spot, sewed it into the dress. And of course, she was, as usual, beautiful and radiant, no problem. That was Karen, unflappable. She left many friends behind each time as they moved across the country. But I am sure they will all think of her and remember her fondly, and we, her family, will miss her dearly. Thank you.
If I Should Die Before the Rest of You by Joyce Greenfeld. If I should die before the rest of you, break not a flower, nor inscribe a stone, nor when I'm gone, speak in a Sunday voice, but be the usual selves that I have known. Weep if you must, parting is hell, but life goes on, so sing as well. I'm going to read a few words from one of my mom's longtime friends, Linda Ormes, who asked me to read for her. Although I think I'll cry just as much as you would have. Linda writes, "From where I sit, the story of Karen Young is a good one. She raced through life, though it might end at any minute. Before she got everything done, thinking of her, laughing, always stopping to chat with a friend, and no was not a part of her vocabulary. When she interviewed with USC for the public relations position, and she was asked if she thought she would get the job, she said, 'They'd be lucky to have me.' And during those tastings for the LA Times restaurant reviews, this slim shadow ordered so many dishes that the worried waiters informed her the portions were large, to which she replied, 'I'm a big eater.' She had spirit and determination, and she would not be denied. We met because we were assigned as faith friends at Aldersgate Methodist Church, and so guided the Youngs through the church activities. When we met, all four of our girls were under 5, the beginning of a lifelong friendship. We got together as many families do, having barbecues and dinners, and we took trips together. There were many camping trips and also a trip to Italy. Karen's determination is a thing to behold. In Italy, having just arrived, she fell off the curb, hurting her foot. She would not see a doctor, saying, 'Nothing's going to ruin this trip.' So she hobbled around and didn't have that foot looked at until we got home 2 weeks later, and it was broken. Or the time she and I joined a group of women in the south of France, and forced to drive a stick shift, Karen had trouble getting the car out of second gear, saying, 'It's fine, we don't need to go that fast.'" That's so my mom. We had lots of laughs, a few tears, and many memories together. I'll miss my good friend and confidant. She adored Allie and Marley. This is the hard part. From the wee girls they were to the accomplished women they've become. understanding their choices, and admiring their decisions. Allie and Marley have inherited Karen's determination and energy. Karen was in love with her grandchildren, so excited to be part of their lives, saying Allie and Marley were such good moms. Karen's legacy will live on in Allie and Marley, so when in question, just do what your mother would do. Or think about it first, and then do what your mom would do. Michael, we know the house will seem empty without her laughter. And there will certainly be fewer dinners prepared, although my dad does do a lot of the cooking. But at least there will not be any more shopping sprees in Orange County. Seriously, we will always be part of your life and call on us as often as you want. We love you. With much love, Linda and Guy. I'd like to introduce Stacy Robinson, a friend and colleague of my mom who worked with my mom at the community newspaper, the Nevada City Advocate. Stacy, if you